Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr. My name is Wilfred. So in this episode, I'd like to explain just a little bit more on the Psyker in case you are interested to pick him as your character for this new Season 7 as the Season of Malediction. Starting less than 24 hours from now. Now, if you're curious about which of the subclasses you would like to pick for your Psyker, you've come to the right place. And if you're looking for a battle sister, I have a similar video to explain the subclasses of the battle sister. Now, before I get into the subclass of the Psyker, just demonstrate a little bit of what this character play like. So it is a very unique mage class. It's a trick to it is that the more powerful psychic power you use, you generate something called warp hit, and a warp hit has multiple stage to it. Green is the safe zone, then you have amber, which is imperial, and then you have the red unhinged. So depending on how high you spawn the warp hit, and you can manage as well by the passive as well. Some ability like this one here, it reduces the warp hit. So it's more or less like if you play other ARPG, you use a basic power to generate resource to do powerful powerful skill. In this game, you don't do that. In a sense, for Psyker, you can use as powerful as you want, skill as you want. You can use mechanism to bring down the hit, or in my case, I fully embrace the hit kind of mechanism, and I become a very powerful kind of character as well. So it really depends on what you build your character towards. Now, when the warp hits start to hit the ember, and that's when anomaly will start to appear around the character and will harm you as a Psyker. When you go to unhinge, you have some really terrible kind of like anomaly that will come and harm you. So the more powerful you become, the more harm you bring upon yourself, but you can dodge those as well. And also suffice to say, at the unhinged warp hit, when you deal damage, you're harming yourself as well, unless you have mechanism to counter it, they're passive to counter it. Now, just a quick demo on how this whole Psyker works, and there are ability for me to do certain firestorm and so on and so forth. I'll talk a little bit about it later, but pay attention to this scale here because that is important. So as a Psyker, I can free teleport to many different places with a bit of like, you know, kind of hit here and there, like you know, all this you can see the thing is coming up, so I'm trying to build up my hit so as to let you see the mechanism, how it works here. Alright, so yep, so this you can see the hit start to go up, and now start to see anomaly that appear and to harm myself as well. So this is getting more exciting. I can get to more, and then after that, yep, I can see the hit going up. This unhinge. Unhinge is the most powerful bit of it, and now I'm super powerful. But of course, all these anomaly, if I go into it, I get damaged by the anomaly as well. So that is no good. So you have a bit of dodging your own anomaly, but you can do a lot of very powerful things, and so on and so forth. So that kind of demonstrate where the hit is. I'm at unhinged. And now, of course, this thing will come down as the screen. You see that it will back to normal. But meanwhile, I see all this anomaly. I have to dodge it. Otherwise, I'll get damaged by it as well. So it's kind of fun. And you have to observe all these things while you play Psyker. And one thing I love about Psyker, this particular subclass mechanism, is that I'm able to teleport at will, and that is really nice to zoom across the whole entire map as you see here. Now, okay, enough demonstration. Now, how does it really work for Psyker is that similar to Diablo 4, which if even each class will have its own mechanism. Like for example, if you play a druid, you have boon, you can pick up the passive that you want. But this game go deeper than that, just like deeper than the superficial kind of like a mechanism. So for Psyker, something called psychic powers, whereby you can configure two different kind of set of weapon. Of course, you can configure which power you like to pick, right? And like for my set 2, you can have some passive power as well, right? So you can configure yourself. And also, unlike Diablo 4, whereby, for example, if you pick a skill, and then from the skill, you can branch it into two options to improve the skill. And whichever you pick have another 2 options, right? So altogether you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 various kind of options. But when it comes to this Psyker class, for example, they have way more than 6 options. You can have different kind of like, you know, combination. You can augment your skill with mastery to further customize the build that you want to be. Maybe there's some kind of like weaknesses of the build like to overcome. Maybe there's not enough like armor breaking kind of like mechanism. You can pick your own mastery, not just like Diablo 4 whereby you can pick 2 out of 6. Now you can pick 3 out of like that many of them. So that's just one example, and it's wonderful. I'm not going to go through that. I have plenty of video on this game playing Psyker. So just if you are new to Psyker, if you like the mage class, this is it. This is the most powerful and fun kind of class that I've played. Now, which subclass that you should pick out of the 3? Well, to be honest, the answer is it doesn't really matter. Okay. Now, you will see the subclass that you pick at, like for me is Empyreanist Psyker, which is a subclass that I pick at the beginning of the game, and this will go into this description here. Now, if you're a Warhammer fan, this may mean something to you. For me, it's just a label, right? But for some of you who like to play Warhammer at this very puristic way, maybe this means a lot to you, so you pick the class that you like. But what really happened is that each of the subclass will have the different beginning attributes as well as the starter perks that you can't find in all the subclass. Now, does it really matter again? My answer is that, well, you know, usually from my experience, you'll gain a lot more points over time and kind of equalize like that 1 or 2 points or 3 points difference at the beginning may not matter so much. And also from my experience, a lot of perks for the starter perks are not something you would like to use for end game anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But however, just for completeness sake, let me just show you the 3 subclasses and also what it means by that. And well, to be honest, another reason why you want to play a subclass is that each subclass will have its own class, kind of like a skill, but then you can use another armor to change it. So I'll show you how in just a minute. So if you are Imperialist, which is what the current Psyker is, and you will see that the beginning stat is going to be more even now, I would say. So the beginning of set of this class, and it's going to be more like 656. It's kind of like all-rounder in terms of force, resilience, and side focus. That is for Empyreanist. And the perk is that 55% damage bonus in impaled warp hit state. That means that it's the middle yellow kind of like a state. How useful it is, I'll let you decide. My personal take is not really, because you either keep it green, or, well, we can keep it amber, or just embrace fully the red, depending on which other kind of direction you took. So again, this 655 is a beginning attribute. Perk is the 55% damage bonus in imperial warp hit stage. So it may mean something you like to have or not. And that's one reason. And also another thing is that it does come with the armor as well that give you time warp, which means that you can just go across you can do time warp as well, but you can change another. So you can do time warp, meaning that you can every 60 seconds you can use a time warp to stop time and so on. So that is one that you could consider. Another one is that another one, which is my favorite one, is the Aether Walker, right? So Aether Walker has the ability to teleport across. And in fact, if you take a look at my Psyker just now at the beginning of the video, my Psyker, although the subclass is an Empyreanist as a subclass, but I use the armor of the Aether Walker, so you can mix and match, and that allowed me to do a lot of teleporting, and I'll show you in just a bit. This one here, this is the phasing of teleport. Every 1 second you can just phase it out and you generate warp hit as well as you do, but that's fine. I embrace warp hit. But that is the essence of this game. You can pick a subclass that you want, and that subclass label and beginning stat and the passive the unique perk will not change, but you can change the armor to change a subclass, so it doesn't really matter too much. Now, going back to a character as well, if you look at the Aether Walker, is more towards the force and resilient, but less on the side focus, and there's something to take note as well. It could be an advantage in my opinion, because I am not that into the side focus. I'm more into the force and resilient. And you ask me why? Well, the reason is this: if you look at the tier 5 of the force, right? Damage bonus for psychic power for every missing HP could be quite interesting, but the most important thing for me is the resilient, which is the no self damage from psychic power when above certain warp hit. So it's something that I would like to have. The side focus is kind of nice as well, because you have a chance for the warp anomaly to be beneficial to you instead of harming you. But just that when the screen is very busy, I really don't know whether those anomalies is really harmful to me or beneficial to me, that I can stand there and take it. So I usually just maxed out the resilient and or force, because force is more of the crit hit chance, and also in case I'm missing HP, I get more damage bonus. Sometime I may have kind of like a hit point loss, but it's a bit really between the two of them. Between the three of them, I'll pick resilient as my first priority to get to the maxed out. So Aether Walker to me is actually quite a good choice, and the perk wise is damage bonus for every active psychic power buff as well. So if you choose a build whereby you have a lot of buff to help you as a psychic power, then it could be something that you may consider. Another one, of course, the last but not the least, is the Squire. So you can look at the Squire. So Squire is the third subclass of the Psyker. And in this subclass, again, there are some subclass mechanism that you could use. So if you take a look at the inventory here, then it does something called the, you see this one here. It means that it's a wild card. You can pick any skill that you like. So if you are using a Squire armor, then you have one extra psychic power to pick. So you know that could be something that is good for you if you so choose to. But looking at the character perspective, this is a 9-5-3 kind of setup. So again, I'm more towards resilient, but you know whether this one works out or not, I think is going to be a matter of choice. Like I said, everything will even out as you're gaining more points, and the perk for it is actually, this is out of all three, I found that for leveling this is one of the best one, because I got movement speed on Q for 5 seconds when I take down something. So it is good, and I can keep moving. But however, if I can teleport like Aether Walker, does it really matter? It is not. So now, so what is the conclusion here? The conclusion here is that if I am playing a Psyker looking for the armor, I'll definitely go for the armor that allow me to teleport really fast across the map. Now of course I have to be careful though, because when I'm leveling up, I may not be able to take on that much warp hit. It's really for the end game. End game can teleport across the whole screen. So for leveling, it doesn't really matter which armor you use. Then the question is that which perk would you be wanting to have? I think out of all three of them, each one of them has its pros and cons. As a starter leveling, I see all three of them has their use somehow, because looking at the first one, Empyreanist, I may get into the Ember stage when I'm dealing damage if I have 50% damage bonus, so why not? The second one I believe is more. The second one is more for the the Psyker, Aether Walker Psyker on the perk. So again, that is really something that you like to have. It's really, I think it's conditional, because it depends on how many passive kind of like a psychic power that you like to use. But I think for leveling, you may have one or two. That's quite normal. And last but not the least, if you are not really fast in your movement at the initial leveling speed, this may be quite a good option, because you get a pretty good boost of movement speed. Like I say, in terms of the beginning attribute, I'll lean towards the highest resilience. So just because I think I'm going to embrace unhinged kind of gameplay. So ask yourself one thing: are you going to manage your warp hit, or are you going to embrace the warp hit? If you're going to embrace the warp hit to the max, like I did for my last Psyker, then you may want to have an Aether Walker to give you the highest kind of resilience to start with, so that you can reach there a little bit sooner than your other character. Or if not, then if you're going to manage the warp hit, it really kind of doesn't quite matter which one you want. I will be leaning towards the warp anomaly, beneficial warp anomaly, because I don't prefer to miss HP, because if you don't have enough HP, your character will get defeated. So the order of my subclasses would be Aether Walker, then Imperialist, and then the last one would be the Squire Psyker. So I hope that is clear enough for you all. And if you have further questions, do drop me a note below. And in less than 24 hours, you will see the Season 7 Season of Malediction. My cable is 2038 Red Riding Hood. Feel free to apply. And I have a limit of a certain number of people, so I cannot have I cannot have too many in my cable. It's just a limitation of the game. So I will start to kind of like drop those who have not been online for a long time, and I'll recruit those who apply for my cable. Now, of course, if you get dropped, my apologies, because I just have to do this thing, because I cannot keep my cable to be too outdated. So do reapply, and I'll add you back in. All right. If you have any question, do let me know. I'm more than happy to help you out here. Very passionate about this game. Talk later. Bye.